Narrative nonfiction is another subgenre of nonfiction. What distinguishes narrative nonfiction from informational books is the fact that narrative nonfiction is oftentimes very much like a story. So, narrative nonfiction will oftentimes read like a novel. And narrative nonfiction will usually include a cast of characters, but in the case of narrative nonfiction, these characters are actually real people who were once alive or are actually alive today. So there are different types of books that can be categorized as narrative nonfiction. You're probably familiar with the biography, and a biography is a story about a person's life and it conveys facts about that person. For example, the book Meet Cindy Sherman is an example of a biography because it is about the life of artist Cindy Sherman from her childhood all the way through her adulthood as an artist. An autobiography is like a biography, but the author of an autobiography is the subject of the book. So, as an example, the book Becoming Kareem is about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and his career in basketball as well as his childhood. And the book was actually written by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he's certainly an expert on that topic because it's his own life. So narrative nonfiction can also include memoirs. So a memoir is basically like an autobiography, but a memoir often only describes a slice of a person's life. So it doesn't talk about a person's life from childhood all the way through adulthood or the end of a person's life. It's usually just talking about significant events that a person has experienced in his or her or their life. And narrative nonfiction can also include books about events that are very story-like in nature. For example, one book that I've enjoyed recently is Spooked: How a Radio Broadcast and the War of the Worlds Sparked the 1938 Invasion of America, which is all about Orson Welles and the infamous broadcast of War of the Worlds, which made people think that we actually had an alien invasion coming in the United States. But of course, it was just a broadcast on Halloween for people to enjoy, but some people took it the wrong way or didn't really realize that it was a story. But anyhow, so it tells the story about how Orson Welles developed the broadcast in the aftermath of it. So it would be an example of narrative nonfiction.